can see. Okay, we'll see. Well, we're live. If they can find us, praise God, because YouTube is making it horrible for people to find us. I might just see, I might just see if I can go live on a different platform, since it seems like YouTube is either shadow banning us or having a problem with doing a live feed. So if y'all know another platform, someone shared the loofah seeds that they're growing. That is such perfect timing, because we're talking about planting seeds.
Yep.
Look at that.
Yep.
That's the loofah seeds that I shared for Christmas. Good morning, Danny. Well, hey, stranger. Wow, I haven't talked to Danny in forever. He was our little prayer buddy in North Carolina, him and his wife. Uh, there we
Yeah,
go.
if we can find a platform that everybody's willing to go to or familiar
Yes,
with,
that's the
we'll
thing. If they're willing to go to it, because we can do
we'll
live in my Mighty Network group.
yeah. You
Um,
just have to get everybody on the same page, and
we'll see. It looks like we have two people here,
we
so
might have to bounce around.
whatever it takes. I tell you, when we first moved here, one of the things, if y'all missed the intro and everything, I'm sorry. It was on a different one. We froze. YouTube wouldn't show us. We kept buffering. Hey, Kathy. Good morning.
Good
Good
morning,
morning. Found
Kathy.
you. Thank you, Sherry. Yeah, this is a whole different URL. We had to start all over. We already did our intro, so if you didn't see it, you're just gonna have to ride with us. Mm. Sherry, how are you feeling, honey? Sherry's been sick for a couple weeks,
Ooh.
and kind of kicked her in the butt, and
Mm.
it's not fun for anybody, especially when you're a caretaker for someone else.
Yeah, yeah.
That makes it hard.
Take care of somebody else and take care of yourself.
Trying to take care of yourself. You don't have nothing left over. Like you're serving from an empty cup. You ain't got nothing, do you?
No, I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. Have,
It stays there, doesn't it? Hello again. Linda. I don't know if you heard us talk about you and how much we love you,
Yeah.
and what an inspiration you are to everybody. And I'm really sad if you didn't hear that, but you are, and we do love you, and we pray for
Yes, we
you
do.
all the time. And if you guys don't know Linda's story, she's going through chemo again, and she does it with a smile, and is so gracious and such an inspiration to others, and it's a wonderful thing to witness. um so saw it was 9, so I came looking for you. Oh, well, thank you, Sherry. Appreciate that, honey. And I will have to say, y'all, I'm getting ready to pour a cup of coffee. We don't have our wood cook stove going right now. Why don't we have our wood cook stove going
It's
right now?
summer. It's a little warm out.
Oh, are you gonna break out in a song?
Well, we've got the windows open and we got a little breeze coming in, and
It was 94 degrees.
it was 94 degrees yesterday
And the day before.
and the day before. Anything else, son, would you like me to tell them?
No, that's just why we ain't using our wood cook stove.
Yeah, we'll start using the grill now. We'll cook outside. Some barbecue chicken and corn on the cob, and
Get the guitar out, Linda said.
get the guitar.
It's that time. And speaking of, not the guitar, speaking of eating, one of these things that I didn't realize how it would affect us, because you don't know until you know, right? Is living off grid and living the way that we live, how we're more in line with seasonal eating now. Because of that, because of our wood cook stove and everything. So when we have our wood cook stove, I automatically gravitate towards, the casseroles, the soups, the roast, things that I can cook all day long on the stove because I've got it going.
Yeah.
And we're adding heat, and it's just that, that hearty meal of the root vegetables and everything that are in season during that time. Now it's come summer, can't cook on the wood cook stove. We're more apt to make fruits and vegetables and cook outside on the grill.
Yeah, grilled chicken salads and stuff like that. Just
Although technically lettuce and spinach and all that is a cold weather crop. So figure that one out. But we do a lot of fruits and non-cooked meals, and because it's just too hot. But
But yeah, we do eat good in the summer. We don't worry about cooking in the house or
It is a little tougher, I have to
stuff.
say that though, because I love my wood cook
We're
stove.
limited a little bit.
We're very limited,
Yeah,
but that gets us creative and not having those heavy meals.
that's right.
So anyhow, but we've had y'all. How you been doing this week? It's been crazy. I have a friend in Wisconsin. They're getting snow again.
Really?
Michigan, our friends up there, they were without power. Some are still without power. We grill a lot during the summer. Love. Well, Linda, you know, girl, we used to grill out every night. Almost, especially in South Carolina. We had the grill on the porch. That was like the guy's meeting station.
Yeah, it's like midnight.
I'm not going to go into confession. Today's not Sunday. But anyhow, it's been crazy because we have had flood warnings and storm warnings, and I know it's hit a lot of areas. And then for like us, we went from having a fire one day to literally opening up all the windows the next day,
Yeah.
and we missed spring completely. Summer's here. Matter of fact, I was so excited. I put out some winter crops, peas, celery, um, spinach, broccoli,
Cauliflower.
cabbage, cauliflower. I didn't do kale and I didn't do collards. Um, I like kale. I enjoy kale, small doses. And it seems like every time we grow it, we grow like an acre's worth. You can only have so much kale.
You gotta have some collards.
Gotta have some collards. But again, those are cold weather crops and those are for hardy um meals, when we cooked collards the other day and they were delicious. We had a roasted chicken, beets, potatoes, collards, southern cooking, tomato, cucumber.
Yeah.
But anyhow, what I was saying about those cold weather crops, they're already starting to shrivel up because it's been too hot for them. So, yeah.
But we got a cold
Oops,
snap
hang
coming.
on. I gotta get the dog.
Yeah, we've got some rain coming in tomorrow, and it's gonna get colder.
Oh yeah, we got spring coming again.
Spring.
Well, we're in summer.
We're in
Now we're going
summer.
back to
We're
spring.
going back to spring.
We might have a little touch of winter. You don't know. They
You
might just buy
you
you.
don't know.
Go ahead. I think I
I
took
do
it from
know
you.
when we look at that mountain over there, and if it's covered with snow,
Oh, Michelle says we're waiting for spring here.
we'll get rain, and they'll get snow right over there.
We lost a barn roof from the winds. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, honey. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, it's sorry to hear that. That's
That stinks. Did you
yeah.
have critters inside?
You got to have your barn.
Yeah, well, and then we were supposed to get those winds. So I'm sorry that other people that we knew did, but I'm very thankful that we didn't have them up here because we get some really strong winds on this mountaintop.
Oh yeah.
It's craziness. Like last time it blew our furniture off our porch, the wicker furniture that off the porch, over the pool, over the side porch, and behind the bathhouse.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to say it must have been a mini little one of these
It just picked it up and threw it out in the yard.
for a good distance, and it bent it all up. And it's new, and that made me sad. But we've had a weird couple weeks here, though, with things. Y'all know how it is. When you're doing good, finally, you can take a little breath, a financial breath, and then all of a sudden things start breaking down.
Yeah.
You ever get that? I know it happens to everybody. We were in that place where we're like, we can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. We had the truck breakdown, our car breakdown, one of our livestock guardian dogs tested positive for heartworm and at the tune of over $1,600. Our freezer broke. We lost a lot of meat that we had processed from our cow and our pigs. Um, and then our fridge has gone out last night. And we just filled it up with $100 worth of produce from a local farmer's market.
Can you say cha-ching?
Yeah, needless to say, I'm sitting here. I woke up. I've been kind of icky because of that.
It gets overwhelming.
It
And
becomes very overwhelming.
sometimes, your mind won't let you just kind of let these things go. It just all piles on you at one time.
How can your mind let it go when it has to be connected to your wallet all the time?
Yeah, it's It's hard.
It's taken my focus off of where it needs to be, though. I know that it's completely distracted me off of God and my faith, and this. he won't he won't tempt you. God won't tempt you ever, scriptural, but He will test your faith. I don't know if I'm passing, but
Yeah.
but He's good. He's always good. You let go, let God. It doesn't matter what you're stressing about today. It'll all be okay. All right, stressing ain't gonna change one thing. Action changes things, but stress changes nothing other than your health. What I wanted to talk about today though was planting seeds. I was real stressed the other day. Some of the stuff that we talked about kind of, I'm already working 3 and 4 jobs and have very, very, very little time to myself. And in the middle of the job day, when we had tons going on, I'm like, I want to plant seeds. Because it was just when we went from that winter day to the nice weather.
Mm-hmm.
You know how it is. You've been stuck inside all winter and you had a nice day and you want to get outside.
Spring fever.
Spring fever. Of course, it went straight from spring fever to summer something, summer loving. I couldn't think of anything else that was summer. And I'm like, I want to get seeds. And let me tell you something, y'all. If you want a good homesteading community online, can be in real life or what have you, because there's a lot of our members that our Mighty Networks group. I cannot say enough good things about it. Those our members in that group have sent me seeds from all over the world, all over the United States. And especially during the hurricane time, they sent me tons of seeds to help give others so they can start growing their own food. If someone gives you seeds, they care about you. They care about your well-being. They care about your nutrition. They care about your health. They want you to be able to provide for yourself and your family. Don't ever take a packet of seeds lightly. That's it's just such a beautiful
Yeah.
gift.
Yeah.
And especially when they especially not all the seeds are a beautiful gift, but if this person has saved seeds from something they grew that was productive, that's just that one extra little step. That's like making something,
Yeah.
because it does take work and it
Yeah.
does take time, and then to dry them and package them and label them and then send them to somebody who they know that you'll take care of them and grow them, and they hope that you will continue on.
Pass it on. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing. So don't ever take any of that lightly. And speaking of, we've received a lot of seeds since we moved here. And I might have a seed addiction. I might be a little bit of a seed hoarder. I have three 55-gallon totes full of seeds. But one of those, in my defense, is all my microgreen seeds. And those I have to buy by the pound, sometimes a 5-pound bag because they're microgreens.
Wow. My precious.
That's not a bad addiction to have, y'all. Um, Plus, especially with the way the food industry is and everything else, and these, Franken seeds, it's good to have heirloom seeds, open pollinated seeds, not GMO seeds, and at your disposal.
You said Franken seeds.
Yeah, Franken seeds. Or wave at spring here. Oh, wait. Getting seeds is a wonderful gift, especially when some plants don't produce a lot. Absolutely. But anyhow, so I got outside and I have all these, they're called 1020 trays, the big black trays that you see at nurseries and stuff. And I counted and I have 308 plant pods. And so all of them produce, we'll have 308 plants that we need to put in the ground.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
They won't all get in the ground. I went out a couple days ago, and if y'all see those memes, it's like a little kid looking at the soil, like with their face that close. This is me waiting for my seeds to sprout.
They sprout.
I did that the other day and went out there, and I'm like lifting up the trays, looking. And I took a picture, and it was like that big. I was like, look, and I went out there today, and they're literally coming out of the tray above it, and I was so excited when I came in. to talk to Timmy about my seeds sprouting.
I think obviously you've got good soil, you've got good seeds, you've got the perfect conditions for them to germinate and
It's
start
warm.
sprouting.
It's
And
warm in that building.
yeah,
But that's one of those things I started thinking about planting seeds. You could sell any plants here. Kathy, funny thing. Yeah, you can on the black market here, but Tennessee, it's against the law to sell plants without a special license. And the license that's required for a small greenhouse size like ours, just a 12 by 12 or 10 by 10, is like almost $1,000. I said, do you know how many $4 starts you'd have to sell in order to compensate for that
and then start,
licensing fee?
yeah, then start making money.
And then start making money, it's not even worth it. You can give them away, which is what we'll do. We'll definitely give them away to anybody that wants to plant. But yeah, it's Tennessee laws are so much stricter than South Carolina. The homeschooling laws, the raw milk laws, the cottage laws. I was shocked. You think that we would have looked that up before we moved here, but it doesn't matter. God would have said, go there anyhow. I don't care. I
Yeah.
don't care about them laws. The only laws I care about are mine. Go there. Go to Tennessee.
He don't want you to sell stuff here. He wants you to give it away.
That's true too. Good point. And when I was thinking of looking at those seeds and thinking about planting seeds, it kind of reminded me of what we're called to do as believers. He called us, commissioned us, all of us, to go out and spread his word, to go out and plant seeds everywhere. And like Linda, you're doing it, honey. You're planting seeds everywhere just by your walk and your faith going through your chemo. Um, and spreading, joy and cheer during the time that people are at their lowest.
Yeah.
It's our job to plant seeds, good seeds, not bad seeds. It's our job to plant good seeds. And I was thinking about this as soon as I saw that, you know, did we share that we started that healthy living group at the church? I think we talked about it
Yeah,
a
I
little
think
bit.
so. Yeah.
So we started a healthy living group at the church that the Lord's put on my heart for over a year, and I wasn't obedient for a whole year because I wanted to be in perfect health in order to do this. And then He's like, "No, you do this, and I will provide you with what you need." So, um, we did it, and it's small, 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 small. We only have like two or three, four people show up, and then us. So it makes it look bigger because there's two of us. But anyhow, there's a couple people or one person that I've been begging to come, and they're not. And finally, I just like, I can't spend energy trying to convince people to do something when they're not ready. They don't want to. And that's okay. God doesn't always call you to plant the seed, water the seed, watch it grow, nurture it, and then go to the harvest. Sometimes he might call you to plant the seed and move on.
Yeah.
And a lot of us, our own will, our own desire wants us to plant the seed and stay all the way to harvest. And that's not always our job.
Well, I think sometimes
Sorry,
we're
my dog.
we're we're looking for some sort of satisfaction with that, and we
That's it. I think we kind of want to be a part of it. It's like, oh, look what we did. We're
yeah.
not necessarily that you do say, oh, look what we did, but there's that subconscious part that you want to be part of, the celebration of the harvest. And that's not God gets the glory, not you. And I think that's why he doesn't always call us to be a part of the entire plant. Sometimes he just calls us to be one small part of it. And on that same note, you can't waste your energy on somebody if they're not ready, right? Sometimes you want things for them, like you want somebody that to find Christ because you know how good it is. And you want them to not go to hell and you want them to have salvation. But the Holy Spirit might not be approaching them yet. God knows their heart. It might not be
Mhm.
time. Just you plant the seed and move on. Same thing with kind of like healthy living. You can see somebody that's sick and always, just always not feeling good, doesn't have no energy, and you have something that will work for them. But if they're not receptive to it, move on. You know, Share what you share and then move on. Don't sit there like an Amway consultant bugging them over and over again. Is Amway even a thing
Well,
anymore?
yeah, that's where I think that's where your testimony comes in, and then them, seeing what you have. Hopefully, one day, Christ will press on their heart to want that to happen for them,
And that's
and
their choice to be
it's not going
obedient.
to
Yeah.
happen until you know
They're ready and
they're
God's
ready.
ready.
Yeah.
Because that's what I have this friend in South Carolina. He messaged me the other day and he's having a lot of health issues. And I said, I completely understand. No judgment here. I've been in the healthiest of my life and I've been the sickest of my life. And 99% of that was completely my own fault. Poor life choices. And
I'm gonna go let the squirrels out.
jeez. And so there's literally watching squirrels and want to go chase them. And I wanted to tell him, I know the answer. This is what you need to do. But he wasn't receptive to what I had to say. And so I needed to be okay with moving on. It's not my position to plant the seed, water the seed, watch it grow, you know, do some bug treatments and then harvest it. um, because some people just aren't ready, you know. You coming?
I'm back.
Well, you up close and personal, ain't you?
Jump right in there, didn't
You did.
Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. Oh, there I have a good testimony about that whole thing too. Back in South Carolina, we had our healthy living delivery system. We had online home delivery of farmers market where we delivered organic, locally grown, beautiful, nutritious food. And we had without an outreach program that God put on our hearts to help those in need get fresh produce. Because there's a lot of wonderful, wonderful nonprofit organizations that deliver food to those in need, but most of it is all processed. None of it is, even here, I had contacted some outreach companies, and they're like, "We never get produce. We never get fresh eggs. We never get these things." And obviously they're not shelf stable. They're hard to deliver.
Probably something in a can.
It's all well, yeah, in the canner box is normally what it all has. The easier stuff that have a longer shelf life. So we did this, and I remember having this one outreach family, and I would take her a box of all this amazing, locally grown, beautiful produce. And then I'd go back the next week, and that box was still sitting there. And I'm like, "Hey, I thought y'all were hungry. Why didn't you eat that?" "Oh, I didn't know how to cook it," because they were things that she wasn't familiar with. So then I started going, well, I'll print recipes for everybody each week. So then I started printing recipes. I'd go back and there'd be the recipe and there'd be the box of food.
Yeah.
And now, mind you, she's asked for this box. I'm not just imposing my will on other people. And I'm like, "Hey, girl, what's going on here?" "Oh, I didn't have time to cook it." I was like, "I'm not going to cook this food for people and just start delivering it. That's not what God's put on my heart." And I got really upset, got offended because I was like, I gave her food that my family could have eaten. There's a lot of times that we would give
Somebody
or
else's
somebody
family.
else. And it made me upset. And then again, some of our outreach people, I had a friend that owned Emmy and them that had an certified organic nursery, and she would give me flats of plants to give, vegetable plants to give these people
Yeah.
to grow their own food, teaching me into fish philosophy. And so I'd give them these beautiful organic, plants. And I'd go back the next week, they'd be shriveled up dead and on their porch or somewhere. I'm like, "Why didn't y'all put those in the ground?" "Oh, I didn't have nobody help me plant," or whatever, one excuse after the other. And finally, I'd had to take a step back.
Yeah.
Because when you do that, it's like you keep pouring out your cup and pouring out your cup and pouring out your cup, and then you go take a sip and your cup is empty. And I had to really work on shifting focus to helping people that wanted it. and be okay that not everybody that looked like they needed help actually wanted help. And that was a biggie. That was a biggie.
Yeah,
That's where, what were you saying this morning before we had coffee? That's where you have to have the discerning spirit.
that's right.
And I was kind of looking with my eyes, trying to see who needed help or who what, instead of listening to my discerning spirit, where God was directing me to. And that's a
Yeah,
when it comes to what you call charity, that's kind of one of those things. Is a lot of times we look to see where people need us instead of waiting for God to bring those people to us.
well, I guess it could be a, a couple of different things. You need to know whether, and this is from God, that discerning spirit is whether to plant the seed. To plant the seed.
You might be there to water
that
the seed.
that that might be the most important thing, but and then it comes to um and then it might shift back on you. It's like, well, I want to make sure that they have this. And usually, I think what Amber was talking about is she went and she started, making sure they had the food and everything, and they didn't they didn't want it. They might have wanted it at one time, but then they realized, I guess, the work and what went into it, and they just decided that it's just too much. And that's when you just step back and go, "Hey, I planted the seed, and that
And what they do with it, it's not your
there
business.
you go. That's where it stops right there."
That's God's business.
Yeah,
Just like if God puts on your heart to give somebody on the road a $20 bill, out there, I work for food or whatever, whoever it is, it's not your business to follow them to make sure that they don't buy alcohol or cigarettes with it, that they buy
yeah,
food with it.
yeah,
That's on them. That's between them and God, and that's hard on us.
yeah,
But that's the obedience part. It's like you're doing this in faith, that you're supposed to. What they do with it, that's on them. It's not your business. And that's a hard part too. But we are called to plant the seeds
yeah,
and spread them out. So yeah, when I saw the seeds today and saw them grow, and in our healthy food group, the couple that did show up, like it wasn't a couple, but the couple of people that did show up, I've gotten messages from the information this month's meeting. We talked about fats and oils, healthy and non-healthy fats and oils, and the difference between them and where they come from. And I'm getting text messages. Hey, look what I learned. I found out this information, and these aren't from 19 and 18-year-old kids. These are from people that are our age and older than us, just learning this information for the very first time, and they were excited about it. And it did my heart good to be able to stimulate interest into somebody that they took that seed and have gone further and dug further and researched more, and they will share that with somebody else. And that made me feel pretty good. You don't always get that. You don't always get a to see any type of return on your investment, but
yeah.
that made me feel really
And
good.
I think the important part is just not disobeying God, because He might not give you another chance to bless somebody, or so. And that where
Huh?
was that story, like, you see somebody stuck in the ditch and you drive by and go, "Well, we'll pray for you."
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
We'll pray for you.
yeah.
We'll
You
pray
don't
for
want to be
you.
that person. That's going to come back
God will
on you
send
there.
somebody. He did. He sent you.
And he's got to go out and find. He's going to find somebody.
Because if you're not going to be obedient, he's going to
Yeah.
send somebody else.
So
Kathy was just saying we know people like that. They said they want the they like the idea of growing a garden, but they don't want to invest the time. Kathy, that's the sad part of about us as a society right now. We're very programmed to want that instant gratification.
yeah,
Nobody, it's was Henny Penny. Is that her name? She's out there and everybody wants bread. So she's trying to get everybody to help sow the wheat and eat, farm and grow the wheat and mill the wheat and make the bread. Nobody wants to be a part of it, but they're all there to show up to eat
that's
the
right.
bread.
Yeah,
Is that Henny Penny, y'all? Is that the story?
yeah. I
I
think it
think
is.
so. I might be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm wrong a lot. Hang on. Someone just messaged. I want to make sure it's not that you froze and I can't see you. Oh no, it's my friend sharing with me one of my little conspiracy theory things. Um, I have.
Yeah, they like convenience and they want it
We all
done.
do. Who doesn't?
Well, I mean, that's probably why they invented processed foods. I mean, it's all those boxes and cans is sitting on the shelf. Just run out and grab one and throw it in the pot, and it's done. And then, you know,
Because if anybody who plants a garden, oh, this is a good little story, and then we'll get going. Anybody who plants a garden or plants a seed has hope, and hope is so strong. I mean, hope, faith, all of those are so strong. I had a good friend that I grew up with, Becca Thompson, and she was in my she was a bridesmaid in 1990, and I had always shared my faith with her, and she had a very wonderful parents. She was spoiled rotten, had everything under the sun. Her parents bought her everything that she had ever wanted, and she went real dark. She got addicted to drugs, she had some abortions, she just hated God, was mad at him, didn't like him, cussed him out on a regular basis. And I kept sharing my faith, kept sharing my faith, kept sharing my faith, and I never stopped. And we grew apart after I got married and moved and everything, and she got married and had a couple kids, and she found me again, right, well, she found me again on Facebook, and it was before Lyndon was born, and it wasn't. And I talked to her, and of course, she started talking to me about gardening a little bit, and then she would ask for natural alternatives because she knew that I was into that, and so she had gallbladder issues, or so she thought. She was misdiagnosed with something with her gallbladder, and she went and got a second opinion, and she was in stage 4 cancer, non-treatable. It took over her whole body, and she still had 2 kids at home. She was a single mom at that point, and I had sent her some information that I had found when they told me I had cancer, and I said, this is the route that we were going if you wanted the information. And then she did, and then she mocked me about it. She goes, I'm not going to be doing like juicing this and doing that, and that's crazy. And she went to chemo, and the chemo actually killed her. Being sick from it, it wasn't. She didn't die of the cancer. She had to go through some really aggressive treatments, and her body just couldn't recover. But at the week that she passed away, she messaged me. Well, first she asked for prayer, and I was like blown away. I couldn't believe that she was asking me for prayer. And of course, we prayed and prayed hard. And I feel in my heart that she found her salvation before she left this earth. But secondly, that made me feel so good about her is she goes, you never believe what I'm getting just did. She was, and it wasn't much, but I just planted an itty bitty garden. And it was like the week or two before she passed away. And I said, I mean, I knew, she didn't have much time, but I said, here to the very end, she's not giving up hope. She planted a garden.
yeah,
Because if you plant a garden, you have hope in the future because those things don't grow quickly. Things, no garden ever grows really quickly. And it is just like planting that seed. You have faith that you're going to produce something. People just don't get out there and plant seeds for nothing.
that's right.
They have faith that something's going to produce.
Yeah.
And but yeah, that's my story about Becca. I think about her all the time. Well, not as often as I used to, but I certainly haven't forgotten her. And I just think that it was so wonderful at the end of her life. The thing that she wanted to do was plant a garden. And I thought that was pretty cool. So on that note, y'all, we're gonna go. We gotta figure out our food situation, and maybe we can talk about that in the future. Because when we first moved up here, we didn't have a refrigerator. We weren't planning. We didn't know honestly that our solar could support a real refrigerator, and we had researched like every alternative before we moved here. Zero pots, water coolers, swamp coolers. What is so funny?
Yeah, we couldn't find one in the swamp, so we ended up getting a fridge. and I think it's on its
Well, we stayed. Shh.
professions in the mouth. Eh?
Shh. We did not have a refrigerator up here for over a month when we moved up. And when we finished building the house, we didn't move in here. Finished building the house in November of 2018, and we didn't move here until May of 2019 because we didn't have our solar connected. But we lived here for over a month without a refrigerator, and we operated and functioned just fine. So we'll share that. That'll be a future conversation because a lot of people want to know, how to how to keep their food fresh without a refrigerator. And if they can use a refrigerator when they live off grid, what the alternatives are, because our kids have an amazing alternative. And yeah, we'll make that a conversation. Let's pin that for maybe next week. Hopefully we'll have our own
Yeah,
solution
okay.
by then.
Good deal.
Right?
All right.
Y'all, thank you for joining us for
Yeah.
coffee.
Thanks for watching.
And we'll see you next weekend. Lord willing and the creek don't rise, right?
Bye.
Bye. Are you gonna heat some coffee?